Can you hear me now? Oh, man. Still muted. Fuck. I'm really good at this, you guys. Super, super good. How about now? You guys don't need to hear my voice. Just watch my face, talk about stupid things. How's that, everybody? All right. I'm gonna assume it's working now. If it's not, let me know. Sorry. Well, anyway, I'll start over. Lunchtime stream. Welcome. Thank you guys for showing up. Root of All Beers, nice to see you again. Vic Miggs, nice to see you again. Everybody else that's in chat, if you're new, welcome to Let's Prep. That's what I'm calling my stream, I guess. I don't know. I figure it was like a good play on Let's Play. A play on Let's Play. I'm elegant with the English language. So for those of you that are new, who don't know, the goal of this stream is to create a community of people that want to be creative together online and do so through the medium of D&D, because honestly, even though I'm a game designer and I run a game studio, the vast majority of when I get to be creative is when I'm prepping my D&D sessions. And I figured that might be the case for a lot of people out there as well. A lot of DMs work alone. And I think this is a good opportunity, because everything's live here, to take some of the discipline that I've learned about being creative with other people in my career and bring it to Twitch and see if DMs and players and anybody who's interested in fantasy in general is interested in creating together collaboratively. And I've been thinking about what that means in terms of topic and what we focus on here. And I think I'm contemplating broadening the scope of it. What I mean is that so far we've just been prepping the campaign that I run every week. It's a Storm King's Thunder campaign, which is a Wizards of the Coast D&D adventure. And that's been cool. This past Tuesday, we had a guest on the stream, which was super fun to do. And it was a good friend of mine, Peter Weiss, who's a player in that campaign. And he was awesome to work with. He was creative. We were bouncing back and forth. It was exactly the kind of thing that I want to do a lot of on this stream. So the two ideas I've had, and I'm curious to know what your thoughts are, chat. One is just having more guests on frequently. The downside of doing that is that it's harder for me to focus on chat and what you guys have to say. But the upside is that there's more engaging content. I mean, there's two people talking back and forth and exchanging ideas, and we can probably improve the chat's visibility as we go on. So more guests, more DMs, friends of mine, DMs that are across the internet and are interested in doing something like this would be really fun. The other idea is to expand it beyond the campaign that I run. I mean, no one outside of me really has an attachment to the campaign that I run. And instead, can we work on things from the community? Can we say that people that come back to the community over and over again have the opportunity to present their own things? I'm working on a magic item today. I've got an encounter coming up this week that I don't know what to do with. I need ideas for this narrative arc or what I should do about this player. I mean, all of those are really interesting problems that occur all the time. And then that way, it's not just whatever my campaign needs in the moment. It's whatever the community wants to work on. And then it's not just me and my stuff. It's really our stuff. And I think maybe gives a little bit of more of a reason for people to come and participate and actually stick and be a part of the community. Root of All Beers, I know you came last time and we weren't really able to give the item that you had talked about the attention that it really deserved, because I was focused on the guest. We were focused on the prep for the campaign that I had in front of me. And of course, we talked afterwards over Twitch chat. But I think it would be really cool for the community to get their stuff put on stream and worked on as well. And I can see my brain does this thing where it zooms into the future really far. way more than is appropriate because most likely those things aren't going to happen. But I can already see a submission process where, people can vote on what they want to work on. People can say, hey, I have this issue or I have this thing that I want ideas for. Can we come together and work on it? And then there's some kind of like a instant in-chat nomination process, maybe using a bot or something where we can sort of all decide together what we're going to work on. And really, I'm just the live conduit for everybody in the community coming and tossing their ideas out and I'll just guide the process, So spitting balls. Hopefully we're not spitting balls. I don't really know what that means, but it sounds good. Let's do that. We can spit balls. I'm fine with it. Community Oversight Sunday. I like it. That's a good idea. Maybe, I already stream twice a week. I don't know if I want to stream more than that, but unless it's like fun, doofy streams. But I think that one of those 2 days, maybe we'll try that day just being the community workshop. Community workshop. There you go. That's what we're going to call it. I'm going to write down a note here in my Twitch dashboard, which of course is in Notion, as you all know. And I don't know if Megan is watching, a friend of mine, but we're both very passionate about productivity software, which is a weird thing to be passionate about, I know, but we are. And she doesn't know what Notion is, and I know that I've been pushing it in your guys' face every stream and every chance that I get. So, Megan, you'll see what it looks like in a second, but I'm just going to add that to my to-do list. I don't want you guys to see my Twitch dashboard. It's, too behind the curtain. Can't open that kimono that far. But, ideas. Community workshop 1x per week. Awesome. Yeah, that would be really, really fun. I'm just going to take the fact that one person commented on that idea and didn't comment on the other one as proof that one of those ideas is better than the other. But, with a sample set of 5, it's hard to know. So, let's get into it. Let's prep some stuff. Last week. Nope, not last week. They are level 13. Yeah. I said this during the stream with Peter on Tuesday, but I feel so lucky that my campaign has gotten that far. Because I don't know where he got this stat, but one of my players was telling me that the average amount of time for a D&D stream, for a D&D campaign, average amount of levels for a D&D campaign to advance to is like 6 or 7. Most campaigns never get past 6 or 7. And that sort of resonates with me because I think the hardest part of D&D is nothing to do with the game at all. It's got all to do with the players and the real world dynamics of human beings trying to interact. It's scheduling and people not committing and personality conflicts and, the skill level of the DM or the interesting, things. Most campaigns don't go past 12. Yeah, I would honestly be surprised if most campaigns got past 7 or 8 before falling apart, or maybe even just switching to a different topic. I don't know, but wow, the delay is real. Yeah, I don't know if it's my setup or if it's Twitch. 10 to 12 seconds. What is it usually for other channels that you watch? Because when I first started using Twitch like 5 years ago, not streaming there, but just watching, there was like a 7 to 12 second delay depending on, I don't know, various factors. But I don't know. Maybe it's because I switched back to 1080p streaming and, a 4500 kilobit bitrate. 4 to 6. Okay. Well, the good thing is that, this isn't like super real time. But it is something that I will look into. Maybe, I don't want to switch back to 720p because we stream a lot of text here. It's a lot of, like, note-taking and writing and stuff. I am on 720p? I should be on 1080p. I thought I switched to 1080p. But I could be wrong. Yeah, 1080p is the source. And hey, I actually do have transcoding options today, which is great. I thought I had to be an affiliate to have transcode options, but I see 1080p as an option, 720, 480, 360. That's cool. Keep it on 720. Yeah, it was on 720 last time when you joined us. So if you could read the text on screen and it was fine for you, I mean, that's what matters to me. So if that'll reduce the delay, I need to look into it. Let me put that on my to-do list. It's just look into reducing the Twitch delay. Variety of factors. I'm sure bitrate has to do with it. I'm sure resolution has to do with it. Things to do. Look into reducing Twitch chat delay. All right. Sounds good. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it's 12 o'clock, PST. It's the middle of the day. I'm sure that when I stream in the evening, it's a lot less available. They're transcoding. For those of you that don't know, transcoding is what they call the process by which Twitch makes lower resolutions of your video available to viewers. So if you're streaming in 1080p and that's your source, then someone with a shitty connection wouldn't be able to pull that 1080p stream down quite as well as if they had a better connection. So Twitch offers the option of a 720p, but that's like a manual thing, not a manual thing, but it's a computing process they have to do on their servers. And so they offer it to people on a limited availability basis, essentially. I think my bitrate is going to shit right now. Yeah, it's dropping. Maybe this 1080p thing is not a good idea. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, bitrate just went to 0 for a second. Ooh, sorry guys, I want to get started here, but I'm thinking maybe I should switch things out to 720. Let's see here. 720p is fine, and it's recommended because you're on you're a tier 0 on the Twitch data traffic, and I was wondering why I was experiencing buffer issues. Oh, on previous stream? Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Honestly, for the first 10 minutes here, it was streaming just fine, and now it's gone to shit. So I don't know if that's my networking experiencing a ton of strain, but also OBS doesn't seem to really respect my bitrate wishes. I mean, I see it spiking up to like 5500 and stuff like that. No, now? Yeah, okay. All right, I'm going to switch back to 720p, everybody. I do have to stop the stream and restart it, so literally 2 seconds will go by. Don't go anywhere. Okay. Should be back. 720p is now the source. Hopefully that's not too shitty quality-wise. All right. So we'll keep an eye on the bitrate. Thank you for the feedback. I appreciate it. We are going to get started here in a second. I read the manuals. I did actually. So for your information, I started at 720p with a bitrate of 2500. That was the baseline that I started with, and streaming was great. And then I started to tweak up from there based on what I saw the networking could handle. And so last week when I was streaming, I was doing 1080p at 4500 just fine. But I started at 2500 at 720p, and then I tweaked up the bitrate to 3500, and then I tweaked up the resolution, and then I tweaked up until I saw that I could still get 0 dropped frames consistently. But clearly that is no longer true. So I don't know if something happened. I mean, honestly, the way networking works, it could be anywhere up and down the stack, but who knows? Let me refresh my stream manager here. I don't think it's updating. Okay, everybody. Let's get started on some streaming. Yes, sir, I did. That's why I started at 720 and 2500. And then I only went up as I saw that my connection and Twitch could handle it. But things change. So we're back down to 720. It's all good. All right. So I'm going to switch to our desktop view here, and we're going to get started on some Dur prep. Also, let me know how the audio levels are for my mic, for the music in the background, etc. You want me to tweak it up, tweak it down. Easily done. Okie dokie. I also went and increased the size of my webcam window. Just because. It's pretty good today with the audio. Great. Very good to know. I like having some chill shit in the background. The first couple streams I did were super quiet, and I was like, "Ooh, this is awkward. Oh, God. It's just my voice. So strange." All right. So you guys see my Notion dashboard. I always have to remember to hide the sidebar because I put my entire life into Notion, so you can totally see everything that I do there. Yep, I'm a Mac user. Sorry to break it to everybody. I know, dirty Mac user. But honestly, like, because it's prep, all of my tools are in Mac. So Photoshop, Notion, all that stuff. All my shortcuts are Mac shortcuts, and so my workflow is all in Mac. And I actually loaded up Parallels in Windows for a second and tried playing around with it, and I was like, "Oh, this is not gonna work. I don't feel comfortable and smooth in that environment anymore." I used to use Windows over a decade ago, and ever since then, it's been Mac all the way through. Mostly because I'm an app developer. You know, the games I work on often are mobile games that are released in iOS, so a Mac was a requirement. And then I just sort of fell in love with the Mac ecosystem in general. Their customer service, yeah, it's not great. It's not great. Man, the bitrate is still up and down. What the hell? Ooh. I'm having some real trouble here. That's concerning, everybody. It's concerning. Because as far as I know, I've got all the equipment that I need. And, I'm not a scrub when it comes to networking. I've done the speed tests, and I get consistent 200 down, 10 up. 10 up should be plenty. I'm just trying to stream at 4,500. Should be fine. Let's see. California. California is where I'm at. By the way, I think this may happen, but, in this time of quarantine, haircuts are difficult to come by. And my girlfriend has generously offered to give me a haircut. Now, that in and of itself makes me pretty nervous. But she was excited about it. And I was like, all right, I guess. But the condition was she has to look at a YouTube video of how to do it. And then, the brilliant idea occurred to us to stream it to Twitch. So I don't know when it's going to happen. I'm going to make her watch a lot of YouTube videos. But at some point, see, the bitrate goes back up again. I don't know, weird. At some point, we might do one of these while she's cutting my hair. And I'm sure that will be entertaining for everybody. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, so let's get back into it. Last time, we discussed the entrance of a new player. And we talked about shave it off and wear a beanie. Oh, no, you do not want to see that. I mean, I know this all looks proportional right now, but my head is actually very small compared to other heads out there in general. And all manner of hats, beanies, headwear in general just looks so dumb on my head. Just does. Looks awful. So we're not going to go there. But we'll see. I mean, she might do a great job. I don't know. I'm hoping, God, for my sake. But to be honest, really the only people that need to see are you guys and her. So whatever happens, happens. And it'll grow back anyway before all this quarantine stuff lets up. So we'll see what happens. So last time we talked about, and we had Peter on to talk about his return from the Nine Hells. He was a previously exited player He had left because he moved away to Seattle. And now that everything's virtual, we said, let's bring you back in. And I was so happy to see him back in. He is such a great player, and he's got such an energy to him that he brings to the table that I love. And he brings a lot of humor to the table, too, that I think we were missing. So we talked about how he should return from the 9 Hells. We talked, just to give everyone sort of a summary, and pull up the note here. Holy shit. Internet's working slow, too. So we talked about, let me make this full width. Doesn't really help, does it? You'd think I'd have a fantasy desktop background for being a DM, but I don't. I just have this Catalina, macOS Catalina adaptive background because it's so cool that it changes with the day and the time. Anyway. I swear it's like you have Frontier. Hey, that's insulting. Okay, I wouldn't get Frontier. I mean, maybe I would if it was the only option. It's Spectrum, and it's usually fine. But listen, you don't want to sit here and listen to me bitch about my internet all day. Let's get started on some D&D. So we had talked in high summary about how Bowden had... you know what? Actually, let's not talk about the details of what we prepped last time. Because ultimately what happened in the campaign is that he appeared. That's the most important thing. We did this awesome thing where, because all of our D&D sessions happen on Zoom now, I had him basically sneak into a Zoom session. So I had him change his name on Zoom, hide his mic and hide his video, and just lurk. And I changed I asked him to change his name to, I think it was like Rhythm Bot or Music Bot or something like that. And so when my players came in for the session last night, they were like, what's this? What's Music Bot? And I was like, oh, it's just some new music software. I tried to see if I could get music to work in Zoom. It doesn't really work, whatever. And they all bought it. It was great. And then 20 minutes into the campaign, I'm like, a red portal appears. I described a portal to the hells. A blue dot appears in the sky above you. It expands into a portal, blah, 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 whatever. And out comes Bowden, and then right as that happens, Peter turns on his video, turns on his mic, and changes his name, and he's like, hey, I'm here. And it was an awesome moment because everyone was like, what the fuck? And I don't think any of them were expecting him to show up or even come back to the campaign. I think some of them might have told him, hey, you should come back and play, but he specifically wanted to do this, and so he didn't give them an answer and was sort of flaky about it. He's like, oh, I don't know, maybe I'll think about it. All the while we had been planning on his return. And so it was just, I wish I could have taken a screenshot of it, but I don't want to, invade my players' internet privacy rights. And so it was just an awesome moment. Everyone had a smile on their face, and that's what you want, right? Like if everyone's got a smile on their face, you know that as a DM, things are going well. Or, there are other ways for things to go well as well. But if everyone's having a good time, that's what matters the most for me. So that was a great moment. And they did a bunch of other stuff in the campaign. And at the end of the session, they had a chance to sort of sit down after their adventure in a tavern, pull up a couple mugs of ale, and talk about why he had come back. And that's where he told them that the devil contract that he had signed, he renegotiated. He actually made a little bit of a boo-boo in the lore there, where he was under the influence of a devil contract, and he basically thought, oh, well, I can use a demon lord as well. So he used Grazed or Grazit, I don't really know how to say it, who is a demon lord. And they're like polar opposites of devils. Devils and demons are two opposing forces in what is, essentially the underworld of D&D. And I guess I was just like, it doesn't matter. Who cares? So the demon prince Grazit, whatever you want to call him, struck a new deal with Bowden where he would come back to the material plane, and in exchange for Grazit allowing him to be there with his party and live a normal adventuring life. I don't know if that's normal, but an adventuring life. Bowden would return power to him in whatever form he could. So that means that there are going to be magic. And I loved that this approach had a downside. The downside being that magic items, which the party finds that they don't immediately need, they can't sell. They need to give back to Grazit. So this Quasit companion, this small 2-foot tall creature that came with Bowden back from hell to the material planes, is responsible for siphoning these magic items away from the material plane and into the hands of Grazit to sort of represent that power transfer, that price to be paid. So that's one downside. The other downside is that if there's any spell slots that Bowden has at the end, he's a sorcerer. If there are any spell slots that he has at the end of the adventuring day, before he goes to sleep, he has to feed those spell slots into this Quasit siphon and send them back to the Demon Lord. And that leaves him vulnerable. If they get attacked in the middle of the night, Bowden's going to be dry. And that's a big loss to lose your sorcerer's spell slots. What happens with specialized potions? What do you mean specialized potions? I'll wait for you to type out your answer. So they had a really cool conversation about that, and the party, largely accepted it and said, okay, if that's the cost we have to pay to have our dear friend and companion in the game, okay, we'll deal with it. And I don't think they've quite realized yet. Aren't specialized potions classed as magic items? Oh yeah, totally. If they get potions of healing, or even, potion of giant strength, or amphora of love, or whatever, and they don't need those, or they choose not to keep them, or they do need them, but they haven't sent any magic items or to the Demon Lord in a while, they're gonna have to give it up, because otherwise, the little Quasit's gonna say, I haven't received anything in a while, and Bowden has violated his pact with Grazit, and Bowden is now in violation, and therefore is an eternal servant of the Demon Lord, which is terrible. So it is going to be this interesting conversation topic that will come up every once in a while, where the Quasit is going to say, I need this. This is part of the pact now. You actually can't have this fat loot that you were going to get in exchange for completing this adventure. And that'll be really interesting. And we also, planned out on last Tuesday what that arc looks like. We planned out the idea that Bowden has actually been corrupted by the madness of the Abyss and by the Demon Prince. And there's going to be an arc where eventually that corruption is going to start showing. Bowden's obsession with Grazit-style hedonism and power is going to take over his better nature. And then they've got to resolve that. The party has to figure out a way to remove Grazit's influence from Bowden. And, the reward of that, of course, is whatever comes along that adventure, but also, we don't have this tax on our magic items anymore, which will be interesting. So I thought that was really cool. The party took to it really well, and it was a great session. So I was very happy to have Peter back. And now we turn our eyes to the future and what that next thing is going to be. So let's go take a look, as we always tend to start. Let's see if I can move. This background's really helpful because it lets me know exactly, based on where on the island I need to be, so that I'm not covering my webcam. Okay, cool. So awesome. A little bit more. No, don't show that. I gotta do mouse acrobatics, because if I hit the left side of Notion, it opens the damn pane again. So I gotta go up and over every time I move over to the left. Okay, so I thought today that I looked at a previous recording and I saw that the text was a little bit small, so I'm going to zoom in a couple times and hopefully that makes it a little bit more readable for you guys. Let me know how that text size is for you. It's raining on your end. Oh yeah, it's raining over here too. It's in LA, which is crazy. Where is your end, Root of all beers? Okay, take a look at this to-do list, shall we? So, last week we started working on a magic item for the cleric because he's been woefully neglected, unfortunately. We still have some to-dos from when we planned out Bowden's new arc. We can do that. I still haven't asked my player about this because they made it very clear, by the way, the party, that they want to go back to Iron Slag. No shit, really? 1080p is harder to read than 720? That's wild. That doesn't make any sense at all. But hey, I'll take it. We've also got an entire character who I just have the beginnings of an arc for, and that is our rogue, Gooseberry. He entered the campaign sort of midway through, so I didn't have a chance to really think about what his narrative arc would be. We didn't really have a backstory for him that was very concrete. He sort of just slipped in as a guest character and then converted to a full-time player. So we didn't get the setup with him that I would normally do, where I ask players for a backstory and I ask them for some inkling of where they want their character's arc to go and what that narrative should look like. So figuring out what his story is, I think, a pretty important thing to do at some point. To give you guys a background on it, I think it's going to be a sort of criminal organization type story, mafia, organized crime type thing, and then turn into something that is inspired by Storm King's Thunder, which is the Kraken Slarkwithel, which is this sort of ancient entity that has been secretly helming this criminal organization for a long time. And so Gooseberry's entrance into that has only just happened, and we can figure out what that arc looks like and what's going to happen to him and what are some of the cool things that the players are going to experience along the way. So that's also something we need to do. I thought for this, for today, we could also figure out what magic items the players get as a reward for completing the Iron Slag adventure part of Storm King's Thunder. The deal that they got from one of the local kings is essentially that, hey, you go stop these fire giants for me, and I will give you a boatload of magic items from my treasury, one each. So we could also just hop on D&D Beyond, look at the item lists, and figure out, for this party, what makes a lot of sense. I think we should do that. Let's do that. That sounds fun. I mean, they're going to want these items next session. You know that players will never, ever pass up a chance to get loot. They got a reward coming, they're going to get it. We know how they are. Oh, got it. Fascinating. Well, as long as it's readable, that's what I care about. And if the text size needs to be bigger for it to be more readable, let me know. So let's hop on D&D Beyond and figure out what some of these magic items are. I also realized that I put that in the title of the Twitch stream, so I guess we should do that. Let's do it. So we need, before we even go to D&D Beyond, let's open up the session guide for next sesh. I think we got to make it. Yeah. If you run as well, it's not going to happen for a while, is what I'm realizing. I know we prepped that, but they want to go back right into Iron. They want to go back into Iron Slag, and they want to free all the slaves there. So they're going to do that before they do anything else. Okay. So pretty much all of this is going to go into the next session, which is return to Iron Slag. Probably. Also just main quest. You know what? And I think we're also gonna have some gooseberry stuff in here, which I'll talk about. That session is gonna be next Wednesday on the 15th. And let's get into it. Oh no, I don't want that template. Go back. There we go. All right. So first of all, for this session, we need to figure out magic item rewards for the party. We need to do some stuff from last session. We need to do all this stuff. Okay. That's interesting. I'll walk you guys through that stuff as well. Oh no, I copied the wrong thing. Oh, yes. Okay. I want to do 2 real quick rule clarifications that came up last session. What do you use for maps/map making? Well, it's kind of a new world now with everything virtual. Previously, I used to make maps in 2 ways. I used to either print out maps that I got from the internet or from the core rulebook. So, for example, if I was running a Storm King's adventure, I would basically like take my PDF of Storm King, screenshot it, and just print it out. And at work, we have access to printers that can do 11 by 17 sheets. So I would just print it out on 11 by 17. I sometimes would use this tool called Rasterbator. I know. I can't believe they didn't think about that when they named it. But it's called Rasterbator. And what it does is it breaks up your image into sub-images. Wait a minute. Am I still streaming? Yeah, I am. Okay. It breaks up your image into sub-images that can be printed on individual sheets of paper. So even if you don't have access to an industrial printer that can print on huge pieces of paper, you can still take your map and turn it into, like a table-sized map by breaking it up into, let's say you wanted, like a map that's like this big, 3 by 3, 8.5 by 11 sheets, and it will just basically take your image and split it up into that 3 by 3 grid. So it's really useful because then you can just print out those 9 sheets of paper and put them next to each other in a grid, and boom, you've got a huge map that people can place miniatures on and actually have close to 1 by 1 size grid. So that's one thing I did. The other thing I did was just I would just use a wet erase board, honestly. Not a board, sorry, a wet erase battle map. And I would, on the fly, just draw whatever map that I needed. I didn't love that solution, and I think I'll probably move away from it in the future just because I can't keep those maps. And sometimes maps can be reused in other campaigns. So by switching to something more permanent, maybe like an easel pad, I'll have, maps that I can then put away, store, and reuse. Now, of course, will I actually reuse them? Who knows? Probably not. But I would at least like to have the option. Also, wet erase maps are a pain in the ass because you got to get them wet to actually clean them off, and that means I was trying to use a sponge, and your fingers get all covered in the ink of the wet erase markers. It's honestly kind of a pain. So those are the 2 things that I did. Online recently, I've sort of been doing 2 things. One is that I just found a really cool tool called Schmeppy. I'll show you guys the tool. We'll go to schmeppy.com. And this is a cool tool because it's very lightweight. So unlike some of the other tools out there like Roll20 or Fantasy Grounds or other stuff like that, I don't personally like heavy map making software. I don't want to sit there and spend hours making a map when I really only want to spend a couple of hours prepping for the session in general. So if all that is taken up by map making, I got to then spend plenty of other time doing everything else as well. So I like this tool a lot because it essentially allows you to very quickly make bare bones, not pretty at all maps that can be used and immediately shared with other people. So, like if all I want to do is make a very simple tavern kind of map, I can just paint it in here. Super loose and rough. I mean, I can spend a little bit more time making it pretty. It doesn't have to be that gross. I think it's... Yeah, I'll right-click it to remove, so I can clean it up a little bit. But then, this allows you to make a map very, very quickly, even on the fly, in the same way that you would use a wet erase. But it works for today's world of virtual D&D. And then you can take this URL in the bottom corner, send it to your players, and it immediately becomes available and visible to them. And I don't know if they can move around tokens like Roll20, but you can put tokens in here. Obviously, there's a color selector, so you got some enemies here. You've got some of the players here. There's other stuff you can do, custom colors, etc. Fog of War to hide stuff from your players. That's all Fog of War. They can't see it, and you can alt-click to show, and now they can see it. It's cool. You can draw edges if you want to get a little bit more granular. So this is a really cool tool that I found. I haven't used it in a session yet, but it's very cool. The other thing that I've used, and then I just used recently, was Google Slides. And it was actually surprisingly effective. So we had a fight that we talked about on stream with some drow outside of Iron Slag, where they were trying to intercept a delivery to Iron Slag. So there was it was a snowy road. Said road had a cart trundling up it with some drow. The party was arranged in a stealthy configuration to try and jump these drow. And this is what we ended up with at the end of the combat. And the great thing about this is that it leverages all of Google's existing Google Doc technology, which means that players can not only view changes in real time, but they can also grab something and move it around on their own. So it allows them to be as interactive with it as they would be in a Roll20 or a heavier environment. But again, you can tell that I just like light systems. I don't like super heavy things. I think Roll20 is really inelegant. I think the interface is difficult to use. It's really difficult to get up and running. I had this solution up and running within 5 minutes of presenting it to my players. I showed them how it worked, and they were like, oh, this is just Google Slides. We get this. It's just moving tokens around. Great. Perfect. Let's go. And we were ready. With Roll20, I think it might have taken like a couple hours to get them set it up and figure it all out. And quite honestly, as a software developer myself and a UI designer, a UX designer, God, Roll20, that interface is garbage, man. It's just terrible. Nothing is intuitive. And you can tell they've just been building on top of what they've got for years and years and years, and never really sat down and reevaluated what that experience should look like. They're like, well, this works for people, right? It's fine. I hate that shit. So yeah, don't love Roll20, but this kind of stuff, love it. It's great, elegant, cheap, easy to use. So I wanted to do some rule clarifications about last session, because this is a recap stream, not just looking to the future. I wanted to answer a couple of questions that the party had about rules. And the two questions were, one, look into the balance effects of making passives the minimum of the roll. And does surprise give you advantage on any attacks? Oh, hang on. We've got a suggestion in chat. Steam, look up Dungeon Painter. Sure, let's go look up Dungeon Painter. I'm always happy to look at new tools. Dungeon Painter Online. Well, maybe let's go to Steam. Dungeon Painter Studio. Whoops. I'm curious. Damn, the internet is slow, you guys. Super slow. What the hell? I mean, I know I'm taxing my upload speed, but where is that 200 megabit download speed that I was promised? Unreal. Oh, this is cool. This is like Dungeon Draft, if you've heard of that. There's a guy on Reddit that's working on that who's very talented. Right. Oh, God. What have I done? Yeah, that's cool. So, for me, this would be too much work. This would be too difficult to do. Not difficult. It looks pretty easy to work with. It's more that I don't want to spend that much time for a one-time use map to create like with such detail, because it takes a lot of time to put that detail in, and it's a throwaway map. It's gonna be used once, maybe twice, and that's it. So I can definitely appreciate why people like this kind of stuff, though, and it makes a lot of sense for world maps, because those are things that are going to be, relevant to your campaign for years potentially. So totally into that. Totally into Wonder Draft and tools like that, where you can build a campaign map that gives that sense of realism or verisimilitude to your world. Totally down with that. But this, the actual dungeons, it's too much work for me. I'd rather take the genius stuff that other people have come up with and just toss it in, or improvise something very quickly in one of the tools that I showed you guys. So that's my preference. But I totally understand that other people really, love putting time into this stuff. Once you're done, you can share so other people can use it. Yeah, totally. But again, it's too much time for me, But if you have the time to put into this and you are contributing maps to the community, that is fucking awesome. Because those are the maps that I use. And, occasionally, maybe I will dip into one of these tools when there is a cool map that I want to make and sort of give back to the community map-wise. But you're also totally right that you can pull maps out from the community. And that's what I would probably do the most of, just to speed it up, is, if they've got a great marketplace of maps. I will say that I don't think there is a good enough directory out there where people can access maps easily. There's tons of maps all over the internet, all kinds of repositories for them, but I haven't found one that is really easily searchable, pulls up a lot of, highly filterable results, has a lot of, different things that I can categorize what I'm looking for by. So a lot of times I just end up using Google Images because it's got the best search. And I get the fastest results that way. But I am curious to see what Dungeon Painter Studio has as far as community map availability. So maybe I'll check it out. Do they have a trial? I don't see a trial. But yeah, that's interesting. Windows only. Ugh, everything's Windows only. Garbage. Garbage. I mean, I have Parallels. We could run it. It's not a big deal. Cool. Good to know. Thank you for the recommendation and making me aware of that. I love that there's such a big community of people building tools for D&D. It's fucking great. No one is as passionate about their hobby as we are. No one. Okay, so I want to look into some rule things. First one is look into the balance of effects of making passives the minimum on a roll. And then the other one was, does surprise give you advantage on any of your attacks? And if so, which ones? I can't believe I don't know this rule yet. I mean, I know it. I'm sure that I've looked it up a million times. But why don't I know it by heart already? You'd think I would, but I don't. It's garbage. Let's look up that one first because it's going to be more straightforward. So we're going to go to the player's handbook. I'm going to try and use the compendium of D&D Beyond because I want to see if I can look shit up easily in there. If not, we're just going to pull up the PDF of the book. Sources, player's handbook. Adventuring? No. Combat. Maybe. Making an attack? Sure. Let's see. Unseen attackers and targets. Wow, it's right there. So useful. Yes, if it's pre-combat. That's what I thought. I mean, I thought if you're hidden, you get advantage because it's an unseen attacker, but let's see. When you attack a target you can't see, you have disadvantage. Sure. I know that. When a creature can't see you, you have advantage on rolls against it, right? And if you're hidden, when you make an attack, you give away your location whether the attack hits or misses. Perfect. That's how I ruled it. Yeah, that was my intuitive sense as well, is that, yes, definitely you would have advantage on the first attack. But if you have extra attacks, that target now knows that you're there. And so the advantage will go away after the first attack. So I'm glad that we ruled it correctly. I will send this to my players, and we will have clarity. Great. Let me just text them real quick right now so that they know what's up. Making another group text. We have a new player now, which is great. Rule clarification on stealth. Looks like we did it properly. And then I'll just copy paste that stuff into the text. And boom, resolved. Did it. Good job, everybody. First to do item done. All right, the next one I want to look into was look into balance effects of making passives the minimum on a roll. Okay. Ah, man, I wish you could specify custom. I know Better Touch Tool can do this, but I use this tool Magnet to simulate Windows functionality of being able to snap windows to, up, down, left, right, this kind of thing. And I wish you could do a custom size so that I don't have to keep dragging this shit over every time. What the hell were we talking about? I totally forgot already. So look into balance effects of making passives the minimum on a roll. So this one is weird, right? Because it's not a rule. I'm not just looking up something in the book. But the situation, I can't remember the exact situation, but the essence of the situation was that I think it was that Gooseberry the Rogue was trying to make an investigation check to investigate an area. And let's see if we can sort of reason it out here. And he rolled a 3, or something super low. And I can't remember what his investigation was. We have it here, obviously. Hello? How's it not working? Here we go. Let's go to his character sheet and look. I think it was like a +2 or a +3. Anyway, it was a really low roll. And he was like, man, my passive investigation would be like 11. Why can't I take that instead? How can I be worse actively than my passive? And, as I say it, I can totally see why it is possible to have an active check be lower than a passive check. And the reasoning is that... Oh, whoa. We got into some non-chill music. Oh, no, this is still a symphony. Yeah, it's okay. Okay. Nope, on campaign. Here we go. So the rationale would be that if you are passively checking, that's just your always on, constant, never changing, ambient check. Honestly, how can you passively investigate something? I don't even know if that makes sense. Passive perception makes sense to me because you have peripheral vision, you have hearing that you can never turn off, you have instincts that are always sort of looking around you. I don't know if passive investigation makes as much sense. Maybe it's more like your detective intuition that kicks in when a piece of information is thrown at you that your brain just absorbs, instead of an active check, which is a player saying, this is suspicious, I want to investigate it. But my reasoning, my thinking is that if you have a character doing an active check, they're trying. When they're trying, they can fail. And, that means that all kinds of things can happen. I mean, they could get distracted by something while they're checking. They could... Not that stuff can't happen during a passive check as well, but an active check is like... It's a dice roll for a reason. There should be low rolls. And I know that there are features like reliable talent and stuff that make it so that you don't ever have to worry about a low roll on certain skills. But I don't know. Let's see what the internet has to say. So passive check minimum. Guys, my internet is chugging. Really quite garbage at the moment. Luckily, Google is highly optimized. Is your passive perception the minimum you can roll? Sage advice. Great. Let's go to the great Jeremy Crawford. Actually, passive investigation is a character picking up a keyword on a conversation. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So like their intuition or whatever, their natural investigative mind goes to work without them even knowing. I agree. I totally agree with that. All right. Is your passive perception the minimum you can roll? Like, are you always as good as your passive score? Mike Merle said, depends on DM's approach. I use passive. No, sorry, this is this guy. Yeah, no, yeah. Let me pull up the tweet. This is like formatted in a super weird way. Oh my lord, this is like 30 times slower than when I'm not streaming. Makes no sense. I'm not using my download speed. Come on. Fucking break, Spectrum. There we go. Is your passive perception the minimum you can roll? Like you always are as good as your passive score. Mike Merle says, depends on DM's approach. I use passive for everything except active checks that use the character's action. I think he responded to himself here. Or not. Might have done another response to this guy's original tweet. In that case, imagine that a PC might make a mistake, be distracted, etc., to end up with less than a passive check. I had the same thinking. That was the thinking that I just stated to you guys. So everybody just know that me and Mike Morals are two peas in a pod. We think the same. Great minds think alike. Great DMs think alike. GDMTA. All right. So I totally agree with you, Riball Beers. I agree that passive investigation is totally a thing. I agree that that's the nature of it. And Mike Merles agrees with me on my thinking here. So I'm going to text my players again and say, also, in regards to passive investigation, passive is your natural instinctual brain is or subconscious investigative ability. When you make an active check, you can fail in the attempt by virtue of the attempt, of an explicit attempt. Get distracted, make a mistake, etc. There's passive investigation, which is more like, I'm going to use your example, Root of All Beers, picking up a keyword in a conversation you didn't even think was suspicious, etc. So both instances we ruled Ploppy at the table, and we'll continue that way going forward. The only downside here to that interpretation is that I almost never call for passive investigation checks. So unless the player asks for an active investigation check, they never get to use the skill. It also means that they can't just like hope that their passive investigation will become a factor, because I don't really call on that very much. So I think that's on me to just internalize that passive investigation is a thing and that I should try and call on it a little bit more. Great. Resolved. We did it, everybody. Check that box. Awesome. All right. I think it is 1 o'clock. It is time for our first break. Well, our only break. I usually like to do breaks every hour. And I'm going to go grab some lunch, and I will be back in 5 minutes. So don't go away. If you've got lunch too, go feel free to eat it. And I'll see you in 5, everybody. All right, everybody, we're back. I hope you guys had a good break. I did. I don't remember what time that I took a break, but that was a longer one. I had to heat up food and make sure that I'm a functional human being, so thank you for your patience. Welcome back. I hope you're still with me. So, let's return to the topics at hand. Shall we? I'm ready. Great. So we just looked into two rule clarifications. Got those checked off. A couple other things happened that we need to deal with at some point. One is that they recovered parts from a manticore that they fought. I gave them just a bit random bunch of things that they could pull. And we have to figure out what they might be able to do with it, some options for them. I don't want to do this one right now, and I don't think it's going to come up immediately. Like I said, their priority is to go back to Iron Slag. So let's copy this out, and we can go put it somewhere else. We'll put it in the main to-do list for the campaign, which is growing in size. Let's put this into a toggle, which is a great little block in Notion that lets you categorize and hide information. Manticore parts. What to do with manticore parts. Okay. And then we've got to see what else needs to be done. Let's go back. So we're going to remove this from our to-do list. And the last thing was... so just to catch you guys up, remember that the party had just defeated Duke Zalto, who is a fire giant that has nefarious plans. His stronghold is called Iron Slag. And he was expecting a delivery that very night, the night that they killed him, from some drow from a different civilization that aren't relevant. They were bringing him something very important. And that item was going to be critical to his plans moving forward. So, as they basically destroyed this caravan and sent the drow packing, they discovered a note in the pocket of one of the drow that they were looting. And they found an amulet that protected from divination, protects from scrying, things like that, and a note written in Undercommon. This note isn't a big deal. It's basically just a note that says, get it there safely, use this amulet to make sure you can't be tracked. That's it. So all I wanted to have was some text that sort of gave a little bit more... it wasn't just me pulling it out of my ass during the session. It was actually some text that I could read out for them. So I think one of the things that they asked when they went back to Citadel Adbar, so they went back to the person that hired them to deal with Duke Zalto and the Fire Giants, and they asked him if he can, find a translator for Undercommon and read the note. So that's probably going to happen next session. Let's make sure we're equipped to deal with it. And let's just write out what that note is. I think it can be very short and concise. If you have wording that you want to recommend, type it out. Put it in chat. Let's have this be something like... I don't know. It's hard to write and talk at the same time. There are parts of this that are like, can I be creative at full tilt while also talking on Twitch? It's challenging, I will tell you. That lo-fi music certainly helps. And frankly, it insulates me from my own voice a little bit, which is helpful. Okay. Very simple. Deliver the flask to the Duke. Use this to ensure you are not being tracked. This referring to the amulet. What does JTS mean? Oh, it's... Aha, it's a typo. Never mind. I'll take my question back. It's easier if you say it in character with a different speech. Yeah, probably. I don't even know what this guy... I mean, the thing is, like, the guy doesn't have speech. He's just writing a note. Who knows what the fuck he sounds like. This will do, though. Deliver the flask to the Duke. Use this to ensure you're not being tracked. I want to put something more interesting in it, but there's really nothing else to put. Well, this will work. This will put a nice little... this will put a hook that I very much doubt that they will pick up on. Not pick up on, they'll pick up on it, but I very much doubt they will grab this adventure hook, because it's not really an adventure hook. It's sort of just there to make it feel like there is other stuff happening in the world. So if you are stopped, return to us. And that means that at least that they will know... there we go. Oh, it's all good, dude. Thanks for watching and lurking. I appreciate you just being here. You know, enjoy your meal prep. Relax, and when you have something to say, pop it in chat. If not, you know, take it easy. It's all good. But I love that you're here. I love that you're engaging. I'm so happy to have you here. Just know that I appreciate your presence in chat, regardless. So thank you for being here. But I like if you're stopped, return the flat to us at all costs, because it explains to the party. You know, they spent like 20 minutes last session just like digging around the that's what triggered the investigation checks we were talking about earlier. They just spent 20 minutes digging around the wreckage of this tiny cart and, you know, trying to loot the bodies to see if they could find whatever the fuck this delivery was, which I know what it is. They don't know what it is. And this will at least tell them, okay, they probably took the flask with them when they ran. We don't know much more about them. And unless they care to find out, that's the end of that. And that's fine with me. But it creates a little bit of intrigue. It creates this sense that, okay, there's someone powering the drow. There was something more to this, but it seems like we've stopped it for now. And it leaves the potential open for another adventure related to this topic in the future, which is great. So I always like to leave those like options there for me to grab onto if I need them. All right. So now we just need to figure out what the rewards are. Add in a loot to intrigue them. Oh, yeah, that's true. I mean, I'm not really looking for them to go and, you know, grab this adventure hook. But the loot would be the flask, you know? I mean, they don't know this, but the flask that we're talking about, what the delivery was, is an iron flask that contains an epic Dawn Titan, a fire elemental that was going to power adamantine forges in Iron Slag, so that the Duke could create his dragon-slaying colossus, whatever, fantasy shit. And so that it is by itself a powerful magic item, but I think you're right. We can definitely add a little bit of flair to the flask to make it seem like, you know, more like loot that's more worthy of their attention if they chose to go after it. We also think about what would these drow already know, because I mean they wouldn't put anything in the note that wasn't necessary. So we've got to find a way of inserting a hint at the flask's power without actually being too explicit about it, because then it'll be obvious that this is sort of there because I want the players to see it. And I know that's implicit in everything in the campaign anyway, but it'll help with immersion if they don't feel like, oh, okay, this is something he wants us to go do. Because also, frankly, it's not. Like, I don't care if they do this or not. Deliver the flash to the Dukes, return the legends at all costs. Like, if I added something like, you know, its power is unimaginable or something, like, there's no reason to say that. You know, there's no reason that this person would say that. They probably already know. unless we treated it as though these drow were just delivery boys and they didn't really understand the full context of what they were delivering. And so the essential information that this note writer would have to offer is the power of this item such that, you know, it's not a delivery that can be thrown aside lightly. It's worth your life. So maybe doing this will help. All right. So how does that sound? Deliver the flask to the Duke. Use this to ensure you are not being tracked. Move slowly and carefully. If you are stopped, return the flask to us at all costs. Its contents are more valuable than your life. I like that. I think that's great. I think it's threatening, and that sort of gives a reason for us to say that this flask is important, it's valuable, it's like loot. But it doesn't really give the players any more info to obviously turn it into an adventure unless they go, we got to go find this flask, which maybe they will, maybe they won't. But the option's in front of them, and cool. I think it's a great idea. I'm glad that you said that. So that's the note. And now let's go and make sure. By the way, this whole part, the tentacles reward, this is sort of that Gooseberry, who is the rogue, the backstory of his that I was talking about, where, you know, it's a criminal organization fueled by this, you know, not fueled by, but backed secretly by this epic kraken of ancient yore. But let's go figure out what these magic item rewards are. The deal was, I wish I had written this down more carefully, but the deal was that the King of Citadel Adbar would offer the players one magic item per person in exchange for resolving Iron Slag. State their reward for a successful delivery to emphasize the importance. Yeah, sure. Let's go do that. Return, and it's a good way to sort of state. Well, thinking about Drow society, it's all about status. It's all about status with your matriarch, with your clan, with your family. It's typically how Drow society is structured. So it reminds me of the verbiage that you see in a lot of RPG games like World of Warcraft, you know, where it's not about gold pieces or items in reward. Like for these Drow, the way that I'm thinking about it is that they received this command from their clan elders or their matriarch in some way. And so instead of a material reward, their reward will be reputation and status. So, you know, I like the words that WoW uses. You know, when you're max reputation, they use exalted, which is a great word. I love that word. It's such a fantasy sounding word. Return successfully, and you shall be exalted amongst our kin. And that way, it really paints a picture of what's important to these Drow and kind of gives a little hint of what Drow society could be like if the players decided to go and delve into that, which is cool. And I like that because this is really cool. I mean, it's starting to, with your suggestion of sort of stating their reward, it's starting to paint a picture of these people that aren't core to the story at all. But I love anything, especially in fantasy worlds, that just makes you understand that on the fringes of what you see of this world, there is so much more, and it's deep, and it's interesting, and it's different from what's there. I think this is super awesome. So thank you for that suggestion. Very cool. All right. So let's jump into D&D Beyond, because I want to make sure that we have these rewards set up for them going into next session. So let's take a look at the party so we know what classes we're building rewards for. You know, I need to ask the new player, well, the returning player, Bowden is his character's name, to join, to put his character in here. I don't know how he can do that, but we'll figure it out. Can you see if it's possible to use this D&D Beyond invite link to insert Bowden into our campaign? That way he'll show up in here and you can benefit from all of the content sharing we have. And I'll just paste him a screenshot of this screen. Logistics, people. It's important in D&D. Okay. Sorry, I'm going to move away from this for a second because I'm just super curious to know if my Reddit post got deleted. I don't know if you guys know about r/DM Academy, but it's an awesome subreddit and it's got a really, really great community of people that okay, it's there. We got 2 upvotes. Well, 1 upvote, one of those is me. Not a lot of love yet, but at least it's it either hasn't been noticed by a mod and it's illegal to post, or it is okay to post and it just hasn't gotten up there yet. I mean, it's gonna take some time. Reddit's not the fastest at this kind of thing, but I'm glad it's there. Cool. So I want a magic item for all 5 of these players. The 5th one who is not here. We have an arcane trickster rogue. We have a warlock fighter Goliath. We have a light domain cleric. We have a circle of the land druid. Is that a remix of Eyes on Me FF8 theme song? I don't know. No, that was Hatno Village by... So this is a super awesome album. It's called Zelda and Chill, and it's basically a lo-fi mix of all the best Zelda songs. I think we've gotten off it. But if you're talking about this song, this is Hatno Village, which is a song from Breath of the Wild. And this mix is super great. This guy, Mikkel, made it, and it's a beautiful album. I play it all the time. I love it. There's also from Mikkel an album called Mario and Chill. We can play that right now, too. It's awesome. So enjoy that. So yeah, this is what we're dealing with. Let's go one by one. We've got Gooseberry Sourthorn, Arcane's Trickster Rogue coming up. Cool. Let's try and find these relatively quickly before our stream ends at 2. So I got work to do, everybody. Okay. Sources, no. Game rules, items, equipment, magic items. Boom. Okay. So, obviously, what are the cool things for a rogue to have? And you know, I can't really enforce the rogue is going to take this. Although maybe I can. Maybe the king can be like, this is for you, Gooseberry, based on your abilities. Not that he would know that. They haven't spent that much time together. What's a good rogue item? I've always thought that it would be nice if D&D items were categorized with the classes that they were useful for. I understand that some are just agnostic, but it would really help determine rewards, you know? Magic items for a rogue, 5e. The internet's doing better now, which is great. Maybe I gave it a break for a little bit. My voice was just too much for the cables to take. 100 magic items for a rogue. Oh, this is going to be some made-up shit. Yeah, I don't want that. There we go. Thanks, blog. Amulet of Health. Supplement Constitution saving. Yeah, that's a cool option. Boots of Elvenkind. Yeah. I think we can do this. See both of them at the same time. Do this. Arrange it like that. Bada-bing, bada-bam. Goose, Kelp, Kegs, Bodhi, Posey. Those are the 5 players. All right. Boots of Elvenkind. Wearer steps are completely silent, regardless of the surface. Grant advantage to stealth checks. Ugh, he's already way too good at stealth. The last time he rolled stealth, this rogue rolled like a 38, which is unbelievable. Plus 1 to charisma. Why charisma? Ever heard of this one? Cape of the Mountain Bank. Allows the wearer to cast Dimension Door as an action. That's interesting. He already uses Misty Step quite a bit. You know, he actually might have Dimension Door already, because he's an arcane trickster. He's not like your average rogue. Let's take a look. I gotta make this bigger. D&D Beyond has never been the fastest service. I'll keep going while it's loading. Cloak of Displacement is probably one of the best items a rogue could possibly have. It's rare. While wearing the cloak, an illusion of the character is projected to confuse enemies. Yeah, he's already got that. He's got spells that do that. He uses Blur. He uses Mirror Image all the time. Deception, Intimidation. Actually, that's a really good idea. Like I said, his story is trending in the direction of this criminal organization where he's going to have to make a lot of political decisions. He's going to have to convince, cajole, persuade, intimidate people. I think you might be right. I think that's a good idea. Let's go with that. Oh, it's not going to be in magic item name. Effect type. Ah! Holy balls, D&D Beyond is slow, everybody. Come on. Okay. Well, clearly that's not the right way to search for it. Effect type. Bonus is bonus, I think. Bonus. Bonus to charisma ability checks, perhaps? I think he has Featherfall as a spell. Let's look. What's he got? He's got... What is this? Distort value? I've never seen... This must be a Xanathar spell. You need to squeeze a few more gold pieces out of the merchant. Blah, 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 blah. Reducing its perceived value by half. Weird. Fascinating. Blur, darkness. What were we even looking for here? Mirror image. Yeah, he's got all these dodgy spells. Interesting. Invisibility. Yeah, okay. I think a charisma thick would be good. Nothing that helps charisma ability checks? Eesh. Load already. Okay. Far gear. While attuned to this device, you have a +1 bonus to charisma saving throw, and you have advantage on intimidation checks. Try 5 EDM tools. Okay, let's give it a shot. Let me just quickly read this. You can conjure a creature from the chaos. Oh, this is an Acquisitions Incorporated item. This is going to be fucking off the wall right now. Yuck. Yeah. All right, let's go try this. 5 EDM tools. Five EDM tools. What's it called? Is it just 5E tools? This guy? Let me know if this is the wrong website. items. Cool. Filter. Wow, look at this. Good find, man. Nice job. This is useful. Look at all these options. Type. I don't care about type. What do we want here? We want damage type. No. Bonus. Yeah. Maybe. Attach spells. Ability score adjustment. Can we just search? I just want to search. That's cool. You can include or negate. That's nice. Charisma. Charisma. What a weird word. Charisma. All of this is for charisma? No fucking way. Doesn't seem right. How do I work this? I don't know if this is correct. Doesn't seem like it filtered anything. Plus, some of this stuff is definitely not charisma based. Maybe it's as simple as a plus, +1 to charisma checks. Maybe it's that simple. We're trying to move quickly here, so let's do it. +1 to charisma checks. Amulet of charisma. +1 to charisma ability checks. Cool. Yeah, simple items are fine with me. Usually, if I'm designing an item, it's something that I want to have, like, more complexity to. Trade-offs, pros, cons, etc., but this is fine. For kelp, I want to do something a little bit better. Something a little nicer. Items for clerics. Any ideas for items for clerics? Yeah, I mean, it seemed pretty okay. I was trying to filter by charisma, but it didn't really seem to work. But I do like that, all these filters exist, and I like that you can, choose to include, exclude, or, null out something, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I don't see anything in here that allows me to sort of filter by a particular ability check something specific. Obviously, there's ability score adjustment, but not the same thing. Items for clerics, 5e. Magic items for a cleric. I love this song in Mario. It's the underwater song. Moonblade? No. Ring of spell storing? No. I think he needs a power up. Can we sort by that? Like something that gives like spell damage or something like that? Although we did design an item that gave him spell damage. He's a light cleric. That's correct. Spell attacks. There we go. Ooh. I like this. What's GGR? Oh, Ravenica. Right. Staff of the Ivory Claw. What's EGW? Explore God to Wildmount. Oh. It's a Matt Mercer item. +1 bonus spell attack rolls. Score a critical hit with spell attacks. Takes extra 3d6 radiant. This is perfect! We're going with this. Done. Done. No. Let's do this. We're going to make a magic item in our magic item table here. We're going to call it same thing. So Staff of the Ivory Claw. We're going to say that it's... Oh, fuck. We're going to say that it's for kelp, or intended for kelp. And no one owns it yet. And... yeah, it was great. Thanks, man. That really helped very quickly. Oh, God. What's happened? Okie dokie. We're going to have to put this into D&D Beyond later, but we'll do that later. Cool. I'm going to bold this out. Awesome. Staff of the Ivory Claw it is. Sweet. So then we'll go back to, and I love this part about Notion. It's a really, really great tool for this reason, but we'll open up our thing, and I can just link to that right here. I'll just search for it. Staff of the Ivory Claw. Boom! 2 out of 5. Let's do it. Okay. So I'm actually not... I'm going to put something really generic for Kegs, because Kegs Bane has so many magic items already. He's like overloaded with magic items. He's gotten a disproportionate number compared to other players. I'll show you in the magic item table. But look, Kegs. I mean, come on. He doesn't need that. Let's put something generic for him. Just something generally useful. You know? Let's pick randomly. How do we pick randomly? Can we do that? I think Donjon has that. Random magic item 5e. Not exactly random, but you know what? We're just going to pick here. Orb of Time. No. Drift Globe. No. Goggles of Thievery. No. What would be useful items? No. It's too powerful. Bag of Beans. Oh, I love this. It's such a random... Oh, no, they have this already. Haha, never mind. Look of the Bat. No. Dimensional Shackles. Yeah, I like this. Let's do this. No. Folding Boat. I love this. This is great. It's kind of useless, but why not? Folding Boat. Great. Oh, Portable Hole. That's a cool one. Let's do this. Oh, you know what? They wanted a Bag of Holding. We're going to give them a Bag of Holding. They don't have one. I know. Level 13. Unreal. Search loot table. Searching. Nothing's coming up. Search doesn't work. Oh, no. Google trick? 5e.tools. Loot table 5e.tools. Site. Colon. Loot gen. Loot tables. Found it. Cool. Select table. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. These are in the DMG, for sure. Roll loot. Good job, dude. Nice. Sorry, I'm assuming you're a dude. I have no idea. You don't have to tell me either way. All right, so you get a Bag of Holding. All right, for Bowden, a nice item to introduce him back into the campaign. I like Gem of Seeing. That's pretty cool. Let's use that. Gem of Seeing. And then for Posey, I'm just seeing like if this is the right power level for what I want. Just selecting which table. C? Pretty good. B? Yeah. This is a good opportunity to give them a bunch of random items. Like the alchemy jug. Do they already have one of these? God, I feel like they already have one of these. Lantern of Revealing. Invisible creatures. That's kind of like the gem of seeing already. He could, but he can heal already. Did you put your homebrew? You put your homebrew item in D&D Beyond, right? I'll consider it. I'll consider it. Certainly, it would save him from using spell slots. That's for sure. That's for sure. That's interesting. I'll consider that. What is this? I've always wanted to know what this is. I'll forget. Q ceases to be poisoned and cured of any disease. Nah. Let's go up a level. I love this album. It's so good. Sending stones. Let's give him sending stones. That's fun. Actually, you're right. Not that I don't like your item. I do like it. I'm just going to go see the other options. What are other healing options? Let's go look at your tool. Healing. Nope. Healing. Oh, that just searches the name. Type. Nope. Tier, rarity, property. Attunement. Cleric. Damage type. Oh, crap. Healing. There really aren't a lot of healing items, huh? I wish it would search the actual item description as well. Maybe it does, and there's just not a lot of options. Maybe that's why you made that item. That would make sense. How rare is this item? DMG. Oh, table G. Wow, that's very powerful. Maybe just I can't decide. Healing items. 5e. Nope. We need a discussion of some kind. There we go. Healer's kit. Antidotes, burn creams. Oh, come on, guys. None that would heal the group. Yeah. Oh, actually, these might help. Ring of Regeneration or Perioptive Wound Closure. Let's look that up. Perioptive Wound Closure. You stabilize whenever you are dying at the start of your turn. Wow, that's good. but not for anybody else. Oh, whenever you roll a hit, no, that's not help. Periaptive health. You're immune to contracting any disease. Interesting. Very interesting, actually, to be honest. I am wondering, just in general, is there a way... What's a good way to sort of figure out what are the healing / beneficial spells? Really just be the Staff of Healing. What's the other thing? Oh. Ring of Regeneration. This is just going to apply to him. I now understand why you made your item. Yeesh. Yeah, it just heals him. We really don't have a lot, huh? Candle of Invocation. That sounds interesting. Ooh, I love items with tables. Buff? Yeah. Oh, in the website? Yeah, I will. What does this do, though? Alignment can be detected with... Okay. Oh, it's taped to a deity. Ah, this feels like a weird thing to give out to an adventuring party from a king. But what does it do? Sheds dim light. Makes those checks with advantage when in the light. Interesting. Can cast first level spells he or she is prepared without expending spell slots. Whoa. This is cool. Let's do this. I just like it. The DM chooses the god and the associated alignment or determines the alignment randomly. How about this? Let's give him a Candle of Invocation because it is going to help him. A cleric or druid in the light whose alignment matches can cast first level spells without expending spell slots. Great. And then I think what we'll do is we'll make it a raw Candle of Invocation. One that Kelp, as a light cleric, can make his mark on and thereby determine its associated deity and alignment, matching his own, guaranteeing that he benefits from the alignment buff. Fuck yeah, let's do that. That's awesome. All right. Candle of Invocation. For the religious. Is what we'll tell him. So that we make sure it goes to the cleric. I've had a lot of problems with this party not taking the items, or giving the items to players who they weren't intended for. Like the warrior taking the dagger that was actually meant for the rogue. Blah, blah, blah. Command. That could be useful. But I like this. Let's go with this. We also have to end the stream now. So, but are there items that have the spell command? I don't know. I think he has command by himself already. Anyway, we'll see. I don't know who this is going to go to, but we don't have to actually do it by character. Let's just say that they get these 5. There we go. Perfect. I'm excited. And we did it. Our 3 to-dos are completed just in time for the end of our stream. Awesome. We can go over this tentacle stuff on Tuesday when we do our next prep session. Because we're going to have to figure out this, which is plotting Goose's story, and that'll be super exciting to do as well. But maybe Tuesday will be our community stream. I really like that idea, and I think it will maybe pull more people in, give them a reason to sort of stick around, maybe grow the stream a little bit. Again, I'm doing this as just for fun. I don't really care if it grows or not, but I think learning how to grow a stream is really interesting as well. So I think trying new things, new ideas, that's part of the fun. So let's see here. Where's OBS? There it is. All right. So that's the end of our stream today. Thank you everybody for joining me. Root of all beers, I just want to thank you in particular for being such a participative member of chat and member of the community. The community is very small right now. There's maybe a couple people that keep coming back, so consider yourself a foundational member. And for everybody that watched today, thank you very much. Oh, you are also a foundational member, Mr. Vic Miggs. That is for sure. Some of your early name ideas were essential trolling that I needed, to really adjust to talking on Twitch. So don't worry. Your status is cemented forever. And when we're a community of 50,000 people, you will be, along with Root of All Beers, exalted, as we like to say. So that's it. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for participating and giving me your ideas. I loved learning about the tools that we found today. Super fucking cool. And I will see you guys on Tuesday night, hopefully with less internet issues that we had at the start of the stream. Thanks, everybody, and I will see you later. Peace out.